Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are moving on with Season 7, now up to Episode 16, Chimera. Brian, tell us a little about this episode.
Yeah, I explain. Yeah, there you go. No, it's a funny one, this one, because it's the kind of episode I would give to someone to just say, you watch it, you get essentially the vibe of what the show is about from week to week. It's what I would call solid X-Files fare. Like, you can come in, you can watch it, you can leave, and it's like, yeah, it's not a crucial episode to the series, but I can imagine many fans really loving it. I can imagine many fans really saying, that's just such a basic, like, not a very good episode, because I feel like it ticks a lot of boxes in many ways, but then in others I'm just like, I like it. You see, I'm gonna say right up front that last week I gave my thoughts on it based on what I remembered, and going into it, I have to say that it is pretty much how I remembered, and I do enjoy it. And yeah, it's not the best episode ever, but it is one that I can watch and enjoy, despite some predictable beats in it. So yeah, yeah. I don't really know much else to say about that until we delve deeper into it. But where do you think it ranks in season 7?
Oh, God.
We've got 22 episodes. Where do you think this?
15.
15. So those unfamiliar with the show, we're using IMDb's ranking based on what people rate the episodes on IMDb. And Graham is indeed right. It is number 15 of the show. Yeah. So the IMDb fans rank it 15th in season 7. But where do you think they rank it amongst the 217 episodes?
That's a more difficult one. 137.
You aimed a little bit high. 143.
Well,
so
right.
137 was Orison, as it happens.
Right, that's close. That's not bad.
That is.
I was tempted to do 142.
Yeah. So it's not in the bottom quarter. So we're in the lower mid section basically, but yeah, I in many ways I can understand that rating. I can say that, yeah, that's fair. But just from, I guess, just my own subjective enjoyment levels, I'm like, I'd go a little bit higher, but I'm not going to argue over it, because it's not, it's not essential X-Bars or anything. But
yeah, and in the sense of like being super well prepared, as we always are, being the consummate professionals that we are. I just had a look into Chimera to see what the kind of meanings were it for, because I kind of knew about the Greek mythology one, the creature that it is. But it also says that it can be a thing which is hoped for, but is illusory or impossible to achieve.
All right. Okay. So my introduction to the notion of Chimera.
Please don't say Mission Impossible 2.
No. it was I can't remember if it was a 2-part thing or it was just a made for TV feature thing, but it was actually called Chimera, and it was about these scientific experiments that were being done, maybe on a monkey or something like that, and they make this monkey like super intelligent, but it becomes like a bit of a monster. And it was a made-for-TV thing in the 80s, and it always stuck with me. I don't know if it would still hold up. I'd probably watch it today and think, oh, blimey, that's crap. But back when I saw it as a kid, it was quite hard-hitting.
The story focuses upon Chad, a young half-boy, half-chimp developed by scientists as part of a top-secret government operation.
Yes, that's it. So it's the blending. So Chimera is the blending of two different species.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like knowing that going in, because if you know that specific meaning, I feel like you'll see the ending coming a mile away. And maybe even if you don't know what Chimera means, I still think you might see the ending coming a mile away, in terms of who is behind this, who it is we're looking for as far as suspect goes. Because we get given a red herring, and it's such an obvious red herring. And then once you accept that that's a red herring, there really is only one suspect left.
Yeah. And it's the curse of the watching TV programs. Like, you know, it has to be someone. You know, there's a limited cast of characters.
Yeah.
But it's not the episode's fault that you can guess it. And I don't think it really detracts from the episode too much either.
No, I don't. And again, like I said, I think that's why I enjoy it. So yeah, let's get into it. So opening scene, we've got like an Easter party, Easter celebration. There's a little Easter egg hunt going on. There's two women chatting, Martha and Helen, and another woman enters whose name I didn't quite catch and didn't bother to go back and find out.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but she's clearly looked down upon by Martha and Helen.
Was it Martha?
So Martha's the woman who gets killed.
Right, okay, right, that's what I'm thinking of.
So Martha and Helen are talking, and they see this other woman coming in, and like, get the bitch faces on and stuff. And Martha's kid goes off into the woods doing a little egg hunt, and she sees this raven, which scares her, and she kind of backs off, but she backs into that woman who just turned up at the party, hence red herring. Hello. It's like basically whenever this raven shows up, this woman's got to be there to make you think, oh, it's got to be her. She's got something to do with it. And they make her this kind of slightly twisted woman in a way, or, someone that maybe got a dark streak. So it's like, it's got to be her then, hasn't it? So, the girl gets scared and runs off. And we got to night, and the daughter is scared. Martha phones her husband. She's like, I just want you to come home early. Come on, is there any chance? This, that, and the other. She hangs up and spots that there's a window open, and then she sees a raven, and then one of the mirrors smashes, and a monster attacks her. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I love Monster of the Week episodes, and it feels very much like we're getting that. I also love the idea of suburbia as a facade, where it's
American
so
Beauty kind of thing.
Yeah, it looks great, it's fantastic, but under the surface, there's something awful going on. Personally, I just love the use of ravens as the kind of horror element. I think it's just cool. And I think it's a good setup for the episode.
Yeah, I too enjoy the juxtaposition of having something horror take place within the bright, shiny veneer of suburbia.
Yeah, because it's safe. Suburbia is safe. Yeah, it's comfortable. It's known.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and I think that's partly why I like this episode so much. Mulder is on a Dirty Dames stakeout with Scully.
Yeah.
I'm not going to explain that. I'm just going to leave it as it is.
Yeah.
So you have to watch the episode to find out. But Scully is not impressed. But they're basically looking for a female serial killer. Scully's not impressed. She thinks it's a bit of a damp squib of a job. They're sat there in a miserable apartment overlooking this place, this brothel place, and just they've got to just watch it all the time. But Mulder, it seems, is the one who's dragged her into it. This is a case that he finds to be unexplained because this woman keeps going in but she never comes out, and it's like, what's she doing? Is she part of some kind of witch thing or whatever? Because when she goes in but doesn't come out, another woman goes missing and doesn't come back, and it's like, what's the case? But he gets a phone call and then just leaves her to it.
Yep.
So he drags her into this case she doesn't want anything to do with, and then buggers off as soon as he gets a phone call.
Yeah. and I've got to say, like, this, although it's, you could cut this out of the episode and have nothing short, but it's great. It's great to see them like doing a case that's just normal. You know, they have the expectation that there's going to be an X-file here, but it's nothing. It's actually quite a good resolution to the story as well. Which I really kind of like that viewpoint. And you also get, again, last week we had Scully as the main character sidelining Mulder. This week you have a kind of role reversal going to happen.
I also like, and last week I talked about how whenever we get Christians or religious folk on the show, they're like full on fundamental whack jobs.
Yeah.
In this one. We got this guy who shows up, or this van that shows up that says Jesus saves on it, and the whole way through the episode I'm expecting this to be like another religious nut job fundamentalist who's taking these girls and stuff, and it's not at all. It's like complete opposite of that. It's like full on like evangelist, but with a slight twist in that he's willing to go places other evangelists won't go by dressing as a woman. Well, yeah. So I love that kind of. It's just that comparison of the Christian nut job from last week to the Christian guy this week. It just cracks me up.
No, it's good. It's good. I never actually caught that, but now I'm thinking about it, and I can. Yeah.
So we got Skinner's office. Mulder comes in, and Skinner tells him about the Martha case, how she's gone missing, that the daughter, before she went missing, had seen ravens, and So he asks Mulder, what do you think about ravens? And you can see Skinner's just like, really. I really don't want to ask this, but I've got no other avenues to go down. I want to get one of my best agents on the case, and the only way I'm going to attract him is by finding something something dodgy, something like weirdly spiritual. But it turns out, like Mulder notices in the notes that Martha is the daughter of a federal judge, so clearly somebody's breathing down Skinner's neck to get this case solved. So Skinner wants Mulder on it because he knows he'll solve it. But blah blah blah. So Mulder meets Sheriff Adam, wife. So his wife is best friends with Martha. So his wife is Helen, the other woman we saw at the beginning. There's no ransom note or prints, but she's just vanished. But the sheriff is adamant that the husband didn't do it. He's like, I know this man, and he was away anyway on work. I know him, and I just he didn't do it. So they go inside, and Mulder asks about the raven. He finds claw marks on the fireplace. Then he talks about the missing mirror because he sees that something should have been hanging up, and it turns out there was a mirror that was smashed, which piques Mulder's interest. And that's when the husband enters and says that he thinks he may be wasting their time, that he's found some birth control pills which she shouldn't need because he's had a vasectomy, so the only assumption there is that she has been having an affair and has therefore run off. Did you catch the little eye, the side eye from Mulder to the sheriff?
I don't remember. I think so. Yeah.
Right. It's just when he talks about it, he does the whole Columbo thing, where he's got someone sussed right off the bat, and then he's going to spend the rest of the episode just like, just one more thing, sir. It's like,
but what they say, I really like this aesthetic, Brian. Like the suburban setup here, it feels like we're into the world of Blue Velvet almost, or Twin Peaks, something like that. We've got the ravens, we've got the smashed mirror, the monster, and then we've got affairs that are going on as well, and nobody's who they seem they are. I don't know what it is. There's just something about that where you're just like, I know what's coming here. I'm in fully.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just when the husband mentions that he thinks it's an affair, Mulder's eyes just do this side glance to the sheriff, and not in a "Are you hearing this, sheriff?" kind of way, more in a "Yeah, I know it's you" kind of way. So I just thought that was hilarious. So the key, the husband found a key. He's got this key. It's got a number 6 on it. So he thinks, again, that could have something to do with it. Gives it to them, and they go about their merry way. Helen puts out missing posters, so pictures of her friend on it with missing on it, and for some reason I've written Jenny. I said Jenny scares her, but I'm not sure that's her name. I don't think I just wrote that because I didn't have a name for her. But yeah, that other woman from the beginning, the one who's like a bit of a dark horse, the red herring. Pardon?
Ellen. Who's that?
Helen. Helen is
not Helen. Ellen.
I don't know.
I'm sure I heard that name throughout it at some point.
It's so lame. We're so lame. We barely know each other's names. It's like, I'm just going to call her Jenny because I don't know what her name is. Sorry, guys. This is the half-assed kind of what we do.
Jenny's the daughter, isn't she? Yes.
Is she?
Yes.
No, well, I don't know, man. Because, anyway, the other woman from the beginning, the dark horse, I'm going to call her Dark Horse from now on, scares Helen after Helen sees a raven. She hears, she's putting out the posters, she sees a raven, and then, boo, Dark Horse woman scares her. They have a bit of a chat because, there's clearly a bit of a history there. And Helen says, do you want to put some of these posters up in your part of town? And then obviously Dark Horse kind of takes a little bit of umbrage to that. Because your part of town? Yeah. As in, I'm in the wrong side of town and you're in the better part of town. So it is definitely like a bit of a class thing there, but I don't think Helen really meant anything by it. So Dark Horse buggers off, and then Helen sees this monster thing in the glass, in the pane of glass of the car, and as she sees it, it startles her, and then it smashes. The glass smashes. So the sheriff comes in to see Mulder again and says that they got nothing from the phone records, Martha's phone records. Mulder starts talking about Raven folklore, and the sheriff is like, what? He kind of looks at him like he's crazy. Helen comes back and offers to put Mulder up for the night. Mulder's like, it's okay, I can get a hotel. Yeah. She's like really insistent. No, you work in this case with my husband. Come on in, we'll put you up, have a bed.
It's just weird, isn't it? It's weird.
Is it? It's well, maybe a little bit. You think she's being a bit too full on, maybe?
Yes, I mean, I don't know. Could she have something to hide? I don't know. But she's she's just been a little bit too friendly, yeah.
So we go from there to dinner time. She's made dinner. Mulder's all like, whoo. Not used to having someone cook for him. Probably
having a meal at a table is probably a luxury.
Yeah. Probably usually has it on his sofa bed. He gets a call from Scully, who's cold, tired, and bored. She sees the Jesus Saves van rocking up, and then the mid call while Scully's talking about her woes of being on this case, and he's like, no capers, please. And then she's like, what? And he's like, oh, what a crazy caper. Bye. And then it goes back to dinner. So there's something slightly off, but also very amusing about seeing Mulder at a dinner table in a suburban environment.
It takes me back to that episode, and I forget which one it is, where they go into the gated community pretending to be
Arcadia.
Yeah, there we go.
So that's what I said at the end of last episode when I was talking about this one. I said it's kind of like it's got an Arcadia vibe about it, but also mixed with like a season 2 type Aubrey. So yeah, that's what it is. It's Aubrey. If you take Aubrey, when you got that woman who had the serial killer personality kind of coming out, you take that and mix it with Arcadia, that's what you get. You get this episode.
Yeah, that's a Chimera.
Yeah. Boom. So Martha's daughter has tea with Dad, and she gets scared again because she sees the raven outside. So he goes out to check on it and finds his wife buried in the back garden.
Being eaten by ravens.
Yeah, being eaten by ravens.
Great horror image.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I just like the visuals on that because it's the white picket fence in the background.
Yeah. Coroner says that it looks like a bear attack. It's not, but that's what it looks like because of just how badly damaged the body is. And the sheriff won't arrest Howard. He's like, nope, don't care. I don't care that his wife's buried in his back garden. I don't believe it. I know he didn't do it. It's like, but Mulder agrees because again, Mulder is doing his whole Columbo thing here. He's already on to the sheriff. He's already kind of clued into what's going on to some degree, I think. Helen shows up. She's kind of, she's heard the news. She comes over and she kind of freaks out, and then she tells them that she saw it again today.
Yeah.
She saw it today. So inside, she tells them what she saw. Mulder believes her. The husband doesn't. Mirrors he says that mirrors are doorways to summon denizens of the spirit world, to which, once again, the sheriff looks at him like he's a crackpot.
Yeah.
Says an entity was brought forth, but Mulder says the more important question is who summoned it, and did Martha have any enemies? So we instantly go to our red herring because she's the only enemy that we can see on the surface of things. So they speak with the dark horse from the start. She says she has nothing to do with it. Why did she lie about her alibi? Is what Mulder asks the sheriff. Scully calls to threaten Mulder. She's like, this is a freak show, Mulder. She's just been sat there day in, day out, just watching all these perps and prostitutes going into this place. Mulder offers her an autopsy as a get out of jail free card.
Just think do you want this boring task, or would you like this other boring task that you don't enjoy?
Yeah. Do you want the boring task I usually offer you, or do you want to stick with the boring task you're on? But it's at that point that she witnesses the Jesus Saves van rock up again. So she hangs up on him.
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah. All right. So, I can't remember why Mulder said, why did she lie about her alibi? I can't remember exactly what the lie was, but
remember.
Yeah, she told a little lie or something. But anyway, Helen is hoovering in the living room and she finds a key. Then she sees a raven, or hears a raven. She goes to check it out and she sees the monster in a mirror, which smashes and then follows her. And then as it's following her, the various bits of glass that it passes and reflections and stuff all start to smash. She runs into the only place a woman should run to for safety in any horror movie, and that is a closet, a walk-in closet. Just like Laurie Strode in Halloween.
Preferably run up the stairs to the back of the house with no other exits and hide in a closet.
Yeah. That's it. It just seems like the most logical, sensible place to run.
Randy told us. He told everybody, like, don't do that.
Yep. It's just, it's a stupid, nonsensical place to go. So she's in there hiding. She thinks the monster's going to come in and attack, but when the door opens, it's her husband, which, again, is that meant to be like another red herring that it's her husband and like he's changed? And I don't know. I don't really care, but it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. So the police are at the place dusting for prints, and Mulder asks what happened. She looks a bit comatose, kind of out of it. Phil doesn't believe her. He takes Mulder to one side and asks him to stop with the nonsense. He thinks it's just going to push her even further over the edge. Mulder spots the key. He asks Helen about it, and Phil takes it to run it down. I'll have my men run it down and see if we can find out what it belongs to. So yeah, sure, pal, sure. So, nighttime, everyone's sleeping, and Phil creeps out of the bedroom, and off he goes to Pineview Lodge, which looks very Norman Bates Hotel, like Bates Motel-esque. He goes to number 6, which obviously is the number on the key. So he's got his own private room in this hotel. And who's there? Of course, it's the Dark Horse. He tells her that they can't do this anymore before going at it with her.
Can't do this anymore. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Basically, the most weak-willed kind of man that you can find. It's just.
And then it's like this is one of those like really classy motels with mirrored ceilings in the middle of suburbia. You're like, yeah.
It's that kind of place. So Helen makes breakfast. Mulder comes out. He's looking for his shirt, and she's ironed it.
Yeah. Another luxury for Mulder. This one.
I got to say that this woman's kind of like the model wife, to be honest. I think there's many a guy who would not, snuff. That's not the right word. Sniff at the.
Put up with the hidden demon as long as.
They'd put up with the hidden demon just as long as the demon stayed hidden, and as long as she carried on being the doting wife the way she is. But yeah, she's cooking and ironing t-shirts and shirts and stuff, and Phil is missing. He's out. Mulder, vaguely pathetic ring to it. Yeah. So what is that note? That's because. So so she's asking if he has anyone, basically, and he kind of like says, that he doesn't, and points out that like it has a vaguely pathetic ring to what he's saying. Basically, he's admitting that he is quite pathetic. His life from the outside does look pretty pathetic, because it is. And then Helen kind of sits down with him at the breakfast table and starts talking about family, and you can see that family is everything to her. And she's telling Mulder that family is a refuge. It's her refuge, and so that's why she's got no problem ironing shirts. She's got no problem making the dinner for when her husband gets home, because she's just that kind of woman. She's an old-fashioned woman. Family is a refuge, and she's happy to be a homemaker. So Phil comes home and Mulder quizzes him on it. He's like, where have you been? Why have you been out so long? Do you really need to be out there all night? And this, that, and the other. He says the coroner said that Martha was pregnant, and he asks who the father might be, kind of, making heavy implications to Phil. And Phil's like, kind of like, if you got something to say, just say it, dude. And then Mulder basically says, I want my key back. The key that you found, that you took for having it looked at. Give it me back now. So, yeah, Mulder makes it quite clear that he knows, basically, what's going on. Yeah. It's kind of reminds me of, and again, it's another episode about, the veneer of suburbia hiding demons, literal demons in this case, because it's the Bruce Campbell episode. Yeah, if you remember the way that Mulder kind of antagonized him and just basically said, I know you're the guy. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to stick to you like glue until you slip up. So it feels like that version of Mulder is coming out on this episode. So the woman, the dark horse, gets killed in number 6, the hotel room, after seeing a raven. We get some nice shots of cleavage and stuff first, as she's getting dressed and that. For all the 14-year-old fanboys who didn't get enough from Scully last week, putting a microphone in, we get a bit more here. So, yeah, but before she goes out, she stabs the monster in the shoulder, back of the shoulder, using a piece of the broken glass from the mirror. So, we know that's going to come up in a moment.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to say that. That's coming back at some point.
Yeah. So, Mulder asks Phil about his affairs, because obviously, now that she's been murdered, this woman, the police are all there. Number 6, the key fits. Mulder knows exactly what the key was for. So, so he asks him about his affairs, and that's when he starts making all his, woe is my life and all that kind of stuff. And he says that, I tried to divorce. I wanted a divorce 2 years ago, and she just she went all weird and then got pregnant. So then I couldn't really get out of it. And now he feels trapped and all that. But says that she's too much. And I don't know. Again, like I say, I think a wife like that would be the envy of many a man, to be honest. No, not that I'm saying anything about, my own wife. I love my wife. She's great. But I'm just saying, there are many out there that would. He says he didn't do it and asks Mulder if he still believes that it was an entity. And Mulder says, yeah, but an entity summoned. And that's when Phil's like, can it be possible that I summoned it without even knowing it? And that's when I think Mulder's cogs start to turn a little bit.
Yeah.
So Phil leaves a message for Helen on their machine. Moments later, she comes in. She comes in with the baby. And then she goes up to the bathroom, decides to have a shower, and that's when she notices that she has the mark on the back of the shoulder.
Yeah, little mark on her shoulder. What could that possibly mean?
What could it possibly mean? Yeah, so Helen runs a bath anyway, finds a scar, and then she has a flashback. She kind of sees it in her mind, so it starts to break through. So yeah, Mulder arrives, shouts her, then he goes up. Scully rings first, so like just before he goes up, Scully rings to say that she's free, she's solved the case. And it's in as a woman, out as a man. So you got this dude who's like an evangelist, goes into the brothels dressed as a woman, dressed as a prostitute, evangelizes one of the prostitutes, comes out with them as a man, and then boom, gets them out and they don't come back. So there's your case solved. But it's pretty funny. It's
yeah, but it's also like it's like a really nice counterpoint to like suburbia, where everything's clean cut, family orientated, and everybody is really flawed. Where you've got this kind of sleazy, skeezy street where people are being saved. Which is a really nice difference. It's
absolutely the flip side of the case that that Mulder is working, and it's very intentional. Very, I actually think it's a little genius kind of inflection of story writing to do that, to make, because this case could have been anything. It could have been a just complete nothing, but thematically it works so well within the broader context of the episode, which is, as you say, everything looks good in suburbia, but underneath it's crap. Everything looks crap on the streets with all these brothels, but you've actually got some good stuff going on. People's lives are being saved. People's souls are being saved. So yeah, I think it's great. I love it. really do. So Mulder goes upstairs to tell Helen that her husband is the prime suspect, but he thinks she has two sides. And that's when she crumbles and changes and then attacks. So she attacks Mulder, tosses him about all over the place like a rag doll, then tries drowning him in the bath. But it's as she's drowning him, she sees her reflection in the water. But of course, she can't break that reflection because she can't smash water. So she backs off, cowers in the corner, and turns back into a naked Helen. So,
Yeah. And yet again, we see Mulder's prowess in the octagon of life.
Getting his ass handed to him, as usual. Yeah,
I mean,
doesn't even have his second gun.
A really
this time.
fun staple, you know. Like let's keep it going. Yeah.
If it was Scully, she'd have found some way to nail her.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Helen is in psychiatric care. Mulder tells Phil that it's more extreme case of split personality disorder. She did what she did to protect her family. And at that point, Helen goes to the window and looks at the raven that is sitting outside. So, yeah, there you go. It's the end. It's like that's a callback to Norman Bates, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the Norman sitting there looking at the fly.
I'm just going to sit here and be super normal. I wouldn't even hurt this fly.
Yeah, exactly. Great moment, and that's kind of like her little moment. She's looking at the raven and just we don't get to hear her inner monologue, but there you go. Boom.
Yeah, like I like Chimera. Like I could pick it apart if I wanted to, and how it can be so similar to other X-Files episodes. But it doesn't matter. I think it's got some really fun moments. I love the idea of the suburban hypocrisy. That's something that I just find terrific. I thought the symbolism of the raven is great. It instantly brings to mind Poe, the raven, and it gives an ominous take to it. Scully's parallel plot is terrific. I think sheer boredom. But it's terrific, whereas Mulder's away fighting as some sort of kind of strange evil, she's there watching like true evil being defeated in a more moralistic, natural manner, which I think was terrific. I like it. Fun. I'd say it's an easy 4 out of 5, I think.
Yeah, it's a 4 out of 5 for me. It's like I've said before, I get that, like I can totally understand anyone coming to this and saying, that's just an average episode. It's nothing special. I understand why they might have that mentality, but I have fun with it, and I love that dichotomy of the two different cases that are actually essentially the same thing. So,
But so, like you said, it's an average episode. But sometimes a good average episode is just what you want every now and again.
Yeah. It's like, and if you look at if you take all the average episodes. Even amongst those average episodes, you still have the best of the average and the worst of the average. And I would say this sits squarely in the best of the average. I would, if I was putting it into groups, I'd say, best of the average. So,
yeah, just a fun episode. So, tell me a little bit about the next episode, All Things.
Right. So, I don't think you're going to like it.
Great start.
I'm not.
What's it about?
It's written and directed by Gillian Anderson, and it's very Scully centric, which would normally be a good thing, obviously, but I think it's a very reflexive episode. It's
so about... there's not a lot of putting on or taking off of microphones.
No, not a lot of putting on and taking off of microphones. There's a lot of deep kind of Scully looking within, and kind of it's this. I for some reason I remember there's one scene in it that sticks out where it's Scully walking in the street in slow motion, and it's got this music playing over it, and it's meant to. She's going for like the emotional kind of psychological side of Scully's character,
Yeah.
And I'm not quite sure it works. Like, I appreciate the effort from what I remember. I think from a directorial standpoint, I think she makes her mark. She does things that are like, okay, yeah, I respect that. But I'm just not quite sure she explores the character in a way that I find interesting.
Right.
So, but again, long time since I've seen it. When I last saw this, I was a much younger man. There might be things in it that, as an older man, as a husband and a father, who those two things I wasn't the last time I saw it.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll speak to me in a completely different way. Who knows? So yeah, we'll see.
Well, we will see indeed. As always, if you would like to like or rate us on whatever podcast service you listen to us, or on YouTube ourselves, that would be fantastic. Drop a comment down below as well, because we love to read your thoughts on the episodes as we go through this series. And we will see you next week for all things.